A storm is coming for the Frasers. Secrets are ready to surface. Time is pulling hard on every choice, and a single step may break the line that holds this family together. If these leaks are true, Season 8 does not just close a chapter before we dive into the new leaks. We need to feel the ground under our feet. The last time we saw Claire and Jamie, the fire of war was bright and close. The revolution had turned from rumor to daily risk. Marches, messengers, and muskets filled the roads. Jamie carried the weight of duty and blood torn between the land he had helped build and the crown he had once tried to resist. Claire stood beside him with calm hands and a steady heart, yet even she could sense that time itself was shifting around them. At Fraser's Ridge, peace had cracks. Friends watched. Friends with careful eyes, promises felt thin. Every ride into town could be the last safe ride for a long while. Far from them in the future, Brianna and Roger were running a different kind of race. Her son had been a target, and for a parent, that kind of fear does not fade. They had used the stones, crossed the river of years, and paid the cost that time always demands. Even when they smiled, that fear lived behind the smile. Jem still woke from sleep with small gasps. Mandy asked simple questions about home that had no simple answer. Roger kept a brave face, but his hands would flex like a man holding a rope. In a storm, Bree worked and planned and counted every hour. The family was whole in body, yet the distance between past and future stretched like a bridge under heavy weight. That is where Season 8 must begin. With war closed for Claire and Jamie, and with the children trying to build calm in a modern world that does not understand the scars of time travel. The map is split, but the heart of the story is not. It is still one family, fighting on two fronts. The leaks say the first episodes tighten both ropes at once. In America, Jamie faces orders that clash with his honor. A name from his past returns at a bad hour and opens a door he thought was closed. Claire must make a choice between healing a single life and keeping the camp safe. In the future, Bree finds a clue about the person who once hunted her son, and that clue links back to a face from the 18th century. Roger meets a man who speaks about faith in a way that stings, because it echoes a promise Roger once broke. Across both times, letters begin to move again, carried by trusted hands and risky paths. Every page is a lifeline. Every seal is a prayer that the message will reach the right eyes. Season 7 gave us sparks. Season 8, if these whispers are true, lights the fuse and dares us to watch her. It tests love against history and asks what any of us would give, all to rewrite one moment. The whispers began long before filming wrapped. A page from the set, a line from an actor's interview, a slip in the way a producer spoke about the ending. Small pieces, but together they formed a picture too sharp to ignore. The leaks claim that Jamie's role in the revolution will not just be that of a soldier or a leader, dead. His story will become the thread that ties the Scottish Highlands to the birth of a nation. He is pulled into battles that test not only his body, but his soul, as loyalty and survival begin to blur. Some say the opening episodes will show him torn between fighting alongside rebels he does not fully trust and refusing orders that might place Claire in danger. Every move he makes will be marked with risk, and the leaks hint that a single choice could cost him more than land or freedom. Claire's path is no lighter. The leaks describe her not just as a healer, but as a woman forced to stand against the tide of time itself. She knows the future of this war. She knows the names written in blood, yet she cannot change it all. The leaks suggest she will face a moment where saving one life could alter history, and the burden of that choice will weigh heavier than any scalpel in her hand. She will see shadows of a future she once left behind, and for the first time, doubt may break her calm. Meanwhile, Brianna and Roger are far from safe. The leaks tell of Jem's abduction in Season 7, leaving scars that do not fade. In the modern world, they try to build normalcy, but danger does not stay buried. A strange letter arrives, written in a hand that should not exist in their time. It speaks of the stones, of a bargain once broken, and of a man who has been watching their family longer than they ever knew. Roger will be drawn into a search that takes him beyond science and into faith. and Bree will face a decision that tests her as both mother and daughter. What makes these leaks feel different from past seasons is their weight. They are not just teasing a love story or another battle. They speak of lines between times growing weaker, of doors that were once closed, now cracking open. The War of Nations becomes a mirror of the war within one family. The leaks dare to say that Season 8 will be the moment when past and future collide so completely that no stone, no vow, no promise of safety can hold them apart any longer. The leaks speak of a moment in Season 8 that shakes the ground beneath the Fraser family. It is not a battle or a death that sparks it, but a betrayal whispered in the dark. According to the reports, someone the Frasers once trusted will turn against them, not out of hate, but out of desperation. The man who owes his life to Jamie is said to trade that loyalty for survival, and his choice sets fire to alliances that had carried them through the war. The betrayal does not strike like a sword. It spreads slowly like poison, twisting trust until even old friends begin to question one another. Jamie feels it first. The weight of knowing that the fight is no longer only against redcoats or rebels, but against men who once sat at his table. Claire feels it next, when she is forced to treat a wounded soldier who may have carried the message that placed her husband in danger. The leaks describe this moment as one of the hardest Claire will face. She must save a life, while knowing that life may have almost taken Jamie from her. Her healer's oath collides with her heart. The choice she makes will not be forgiven by everyone. The future timeline, too, bends under its own storm. Brianna finds signs that Jem is not as safe as she believed. The child begins to speak of dreams that feel like memories of another time, dreams filled with faces he should not know. At first, she thinks they are the normal fears of a child marked by trauma. But then Roger uncovers a truth in an old journal and entry that describes Jem by name, written centuries before his birth. The leaks hint that this discovery is no accident. Someone has been pulling threads in the past to shape the future, and Jem is at the center of it. The turning point is not only in what happens, but in what it means. The Frasers have always believed they could hold their family together by faith, by courage, by crossing time if needed. But this leak suggests that Season 8 will show the limits of even that strength. When betrayal comes from a friend, when a child dreams of centuries gone, and when letters from the past arrive in the future, the question becomes not whether the Frasers can endure, but whether the world itself will let them. The leaks suggest that midway through Season 8, the story takes a darker turn. One that forces the Frasers to face the oldest truth of war and time. Survival always demands a price. This is not the price of land or title. It is the price of blood, of choosing who must be left behind so that others may live. Jamie is said to walk straight into this fire. The leaks describe a battlefield not of grand armies, but of ambush and betrayal, where a single wrong move could erase the future he has fought to protect. In this moment, Jamie chooses to stand his ground while others retreat, knowing full well that his decision might mean his life. The whispers say he will carry a wound that does not heal, a mark that follows him to the end of the season. Some claim this injury is the writer's way of reminding us that Jamie is mortal, even if his love has always felt eternal. Claire's sacrifice is not of flesh, but of soul. One leak insists she will be forced to choose between saving a soldier she despises or letting him die and sparing herself the burden. The soldier, however, is tied to the fate of the ridge, and Claire knows that if she turns away, hundreds may fall. Healing him means preserving a chain of events she cannot see fully but feels must happen. The struggle breaks her in ways the war itself could not. She saves him, but at a cost to her own spirit. For the first time, Claire questions whether being a healer is a blessing or a curse, when the hands she saves may later carry a blade to her family in the future. Roger and Bree face their own test. The leaks hint at a moment when Jem vanishes. Again, not by force, but by choice. A dream pulls him toward the stones, as if something in the past is calling his blood. The parents must decide whether to chase him across time again or risk losing him forever in the currents of history. The sacrifice is not just the journey. It is the knowledge that each crossing strips away something of who they are. Roger fears he will lose his faith completely. Bree fears she will lose her son not to death, but to a life she cannot follow. What makes these sacrifices sting is that they are not grand victories. They are quiet, heavy moments where love and duty clash, and no choice leaves anyone whole. The leaks suggest that by this point in Season 8, viewers will no longer be asking who wins the war, but who can endure the cost of surviving it. Every step forward is bought with something the Frasers cannot replace. The leaks whisper of an ending carved from both love and loss, a farewell that feels inevitable yet still cruel when it arrives. For years, fans have asked the same question: how does Jamie Fraser's story end? The whispers claim that Season 8 may finally give that answer, and it is not wrapped in triumph, but in heartbreak. According to the leaks, Jamie will not die in the blaze of battle. His end is quieter, almost merciful, yet no less devastating. Wounded and weary, he returns to Claire one last time, and the story slows, as if time itself pauses to honor them. The leak describes a final night where he speaks not of war, but of home, of the ridge of Scotland, of every place their love once gave them peace. He knows his body cannot carry him further, and Claire knows her skills cannot fight this wound. She holds him, not as healer, but as wife, and in the silence of dawn. His life slips away like a tide returning to the sea, but the cruelty of the leaks does not end there. They say Claire faces a choice in the wake of Jamie's death: stay in the past, alone, or return through the stones one last time. The whispers suggest she may walk back to her own century, not because she wants to, but because Jamie makes her promise to live, to carry his memory into a world where their children still breathe. The thought of her stepping into the future, her heart breaking as the stones drag her forward, has stirred fear and anger in fans who read these leaks. In the modern world, the leaks claim Brianna and Roger see her return. The reunion is not joyous, but heavy, filled with tears and silence. Claire carries the ghost of Jamie with her, and though she is surrounded by family, she feels the hollow weight of being a widow across centuries. The leaks even describe her voice narrating the final scenes, reflecting on love that defied time but could not escape fate. Some say the writers may mirror Diana Gabaldon's vision. Others believe they will alter it for television, but the whispers agree on one thing: Season 8 ends with Claire looking back, her hand touching a stone, her eyes filled with both memory and pain. Whether she truly leaves Jamie behind or joins him in some unseen way remains the question. This rumored ending is not about victory. It is about the truth that love can carry us across time but cannot spare us from the cost of being human. If these leaks are real, Outlander will end not with fire, but with a whisper, a promise that even when time steals everything, love remains. The leaks may sketch a farewell, but the voices of the fans roar louder than any rumor. Across forums, podcasts, and late-night comment threads, the Outlander community is split into two camps: those who believe the ending is faithful and those who call it betrayal. One side argues that Jamie's quiet death is perfect. They say a warrior should not always fall with a sword in hand. They see grace in the idea of him passing in Claire's arms, a reminder that his greatest battle was never against armies but against the weight of history itself. To them, this ending is not weakness. It is truth. Jamie dies not as a hero of war, but as the man who gave his life to love, to land, and to family. Yet another side rages at the very thought. They refuse to accept that a story built on time travel and miracles could end in such finality. They believe there must be one last twist, one last turn of fate, where Claire and Jamie find a way to remain together beyond time. Some theories claim Claire might follow Jamie in death at the same hour, not by choice but by destiny, their souls bound so tightly that not even centuries can divide them. Others suggest the stones may pull her back to the moment of his youth, creating a loop where their love never truly ends but repeats. Again and again, as time folds upon itself, a stranger theory making rounds whispers that Brianna's children are the true key. Fans argue that Jem and Mandy might one day master the stones in a way no one has before, so they could bridge past and future permanently, reshaping history so that Jamie lives on in more than memory. It's wild speculation, but Outlander has always thrived on the impossible, and fans cling to that hope like a rope in the storm. For some, the leaks do not feel like spoilers at all, but clever misdirection. They suspect the studio has let false endings slip to confuse viewers, planting stories of grief so the true finale will strike even harder. Whether that twist is joy or tragedy, no one can say, but the debate burns hotter with each passing day. What unites all sides, however, is not certainty but devotion. Fans do not argue because they wish to fight. They argue because this story has become part of them. Outlander is no longer just a show. It is a bond between audience and characters, a reminder that love can stretch beyond the ordinary limits of life. Whether Jamie dies or lives, whether Claire walks into the stones or stays, the world of Outlander has already written itself into the hearts of millions. And that, perhaps, is the truest ending of all. The leaks may whisper, the theories may rage. But when the last frame fades, Outlander will not only leave behind a story, it will leave behind a question. Was it ever truly about war, about the stones, about bending history? Or was it always about love, about what two souls can carry through centuries, about the cost of holding on when the world demands you let go? If Jamie dies quietly, it will not be the silence of defeat. It will be the silence of a man who lived through prisons, rebellions, and heartbreak, yet still found a way to love with every breath until his last. If Claire returns to her own century, it will not be because she chose to leave him. It will be because he asked her to keep living when he no longer could. And if, as some hope, the story twists again and finds a way to bind them together beyond time, it will only prove what Outlander has always whispered, that love is stronger than history itself for fans. The end is not just an ending, it is a mirror. It asks what we would do if we could step through stones, if we could trade years for love, if we could hold someone knowing time itself will one day pull them away. Outlander Season 8 may be the close of the tale, but the ache it leaves will live far longer. Because stories like this do not stop when the credits roll. They echo. They haunt. They remind, so when the final episode comes, the true question will not be what happens to Jamie or Claire. The true question will be what happens to us, the ones left watching, the ones holding their love in our own hearts. Because endings are never really endings. They're beginnings of memory. And now, the question passes to you. Do you believe these leaks? Or do you think the writers are hiding one last miracle? Should love end with loss? Or with time folding? To keep it alive? Tell me, how do you want Outlander to end?